for grace, for favor.
Hey Facebook family, I know that I have not been around for a while, but I am so glad to be back. I was on vacation a little bit, getting a little a little relaxing, a little relaxation, a little rest so that I can get re-engaged. And I'm ready to go. I'm telling you, the Lord has done some refreshing during this time of refreshing, and had a lot of issues that I could look at retrospectively, and also seeing what I need to do present day. And one of the things that we discovered, that when I went on vacation, I was doing a series, and I started this series about how God has a way of perfecting us or giving us strength in our weakness. Apostle Paul said that in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And he shared with us that every Christian, every believer has a thorn. And the thorn is to keep us from thinking more than what we are. He says in verse 7 of chapter 12, "Lest I be exalted above measure." He said that at the beginning of the verse, and then he says it at the end of the verse, "At least I be exalted above measure," which gives us a hint to what he was struggling with. He was struggling with the peril of pride. And all of us can struggle with pride. We can struggle with it by our face, meaning the pride of face, that it's the way we look. Some of us have been blessed. Some of us have been endowed with certain features that cause us to become attractive. And if not careful, we'll begin to think that we're even more than what we really are because of our looks, our face. Some of us have been infected by the problem of pride because of our place. The place that we've been exalted in the form of employment, in the form of responsibility. Some of us allow our level of position to taint us with pride. Then some of us are prideful because of the pride of race, your pedigree, who you are, who you think you are, and what makes you separate from everybody else in the human race. No, we all are a disgrace, according to Paul in the book of Romans. He says we all have sinned. There is none righteous, no, not one. And then there are some of us that are literally filled with the pride of grace. And I know that sounds oxymoron. That sounds perplexingly paradoxical. How can one be proudful when one has been given grace? Something that they don't deserve. And you are absolutely right. We don't deserve it. But some of us, when we are gifted with a grace gift, thinks that we deserve the gift that we got. And it will cause us to become prideful, very prideful. And we minister with an air. We sing with an air if we've been graced with the gift of being able to exhort in our singing. We have this arrogance. Preachers can be infected by it because of our position. And we become real arrogant and we become real puffed because we've been graced with the gift that God gave us. It's ever so true. But Paul says this too. He says, "It was given to me because of those kinds of things that were in my life, to keep my feet on the ground, lest I be exalted above measure." And he said that problem of pride caused me some pain, so I began to plead to the Lord that he would remove it from me. Well, my sister, my brother, it's interesting that sometimes God answers prayers not by taking from you or alleviating you of something. Sometimes he'll just add to you something that you don't need to deal with the something that you have. He said, "I'm not going to take it from you, Paul, but I'm going to give you a commodity of my person and my character that's called grace." Grace is divine enablement to help us to do what we can't do within ourselves. He says to Paul, "My grace is sufficient for you." Paul replies and prays and says, therefore, will I take pleasure in my persecutions and my necessities and persecutions for Christ's sake. He says, for when I'm weak, that's when I'm strong. Strength is better seen in the midst of weakness. Because if you're strong, you don't need strength. We only need strength where we're weak. And God knows where our weaknesses are. He knows what they are. And He can deal with every last one of them by supplying to us something that we don't have. And it's called grace. So, beloved, I say this to you this magnificent Monday. When it comes to the issue of our weaknesses, God will not allow us to use that as an excuse, because He promises to give us strength. If we plead for it, if we ask for it, you'll find that in the midst of your dysfunction, grace will help you to function so that we can be all that God would have us be, and we'll be able to do all that He wants us to do. God bless you. Praise God for you. And Lord willing, I'll see you next week. So in the meanwhile, peace. I'm out.